Welcome to New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. I'm your host, Sean. Man, first thing I have to get off my chest today after paying my tax bill from my retirement as I start my new business is taxation is theft. Holy crap. I really don't want to support a Ukrainian BTG battalion tactical group, if you don't know what that is. I'm really disappointed in how much Uncle Sam takes away from you, especially if you have to draw on your retirement. Just an FYI. The government hates you. I've said this multiple times. More specifically, politicians hate you, but the government does itself. Case in point. While they're trying to ban all of your modern sporting weapons and try to keep you defenseless in your home while bad stuff is happening around the world, especially in the United States, even more so in New Mexico as crime rates keep As crime rates keep climbing in New Mexico, we are supposed to be defenseless, but Cori Bush is marrying her armed bodyguard. If you don't know who Cori Bush is, this is a national story. Cori Bush is one of the squad members in Congress. Now, she's one of the people that's pushing hard and heavy like Biden for an assault weapons ban. They're bad people. That's just what we have to realize, is that there is no honesty in the government at all. The same time that they're trying to ban your right to own a firearm and protect yourself, riots and burning at the Atlanta police training station that is being built are happening and have happened. They arrested 23 people today there. And they've called this nationally a protest, not a riot. But yet it's fiery, but mostly peaceful, I guess. Now, I'm not a huge fan of, or anymore a huge fan of law enforcement as I once was, but I don't believe you should be burning a training station for law enforcement. Number one, it's dependent on the law enforcement agents themselves. I still believe that a lot of local law enforcement agents are doing the right thing. A lot of ground people in the FBI are probably still doing the good thing. However, anyone who is of rank, let's just say, I don't trust anymore. And I don't really trust the ground pounders either. And that's because none of them stood up when we needed them. But I do not see the purpose of burning something in a riot. I've never understood that. But where I see the huge problem with this is they're going to catch some good old boy on a bad day where he's out minding his own business, and they're going to have a Molotov cocktail out in their hand, lit on fire and getting ready to throw it. And some good old boy in New Mexico or Texas or someplace that's a little more rural, a little more country, is going to shoot this person and end the fight. Just like the McCloskeys right now, if you hadn't heard, the McCloskeys are being charged as felons, and there's a big court case now brewing in Missouri to try to get them exonerated for the issues of what's happened with them. If you don't know what happened to the McCloskeys, they are the ones that were across all social media where they had an AR-15 and the gentleman had an AR-15 and the woman, his wife, had some sort of pistol. They handled them very recklessly, first off. Other than that, I have no problems with what they were doing. They were trying to defend their home as far as I'm concerned. What happened is rioters or protesters broke down a private gate to get to them. And the McCloskeys had no clue what the heck was going on. And I've talked about this story about a year ago, or about when it happened. But it's disheartening to see that it's taking this much legal pushback from them. That's got to cost them a damn pretty penny to fight the government to keep their rights. Now, let's get to New Mexico's roundhouse session, which we've only got 2 weeks left of, so this week and next week. So you're about to see some more movements. The governor has called, and I mentioned this before, has called for a special, or will possibly call for a special session. She's threatening this to try to get movement on gun bills. Now, What does that mean? House Bill 101 and Senate Bill 171, they're reciprocals of each other. They're probably going to be seen or heard of again. It looks like they were tabled. House Bill 101 was definitely tabled. But with this call and this threat for a special session, expect them to try to put it back on the docket. House Bill 9 looks like, to me, it's passed both House and the Senate with a floor vote. That means it's going to be law. That means that if you don't know what House Bill 9 is, that's a Safe Storage Act for children, for firearms. So what that means is that you have a firearm, you have to have it locked away. You cannot have it out readily accessible to anyone for any reason. And if they catch you, they will basically put you in jail or give you a giant fine or the combination thereof, because this is what our government does. They have nothing better to do. Now, I understand the issue. They're trying to stop school shootings. And they think that having firearms that are out and available are how they're going to do it. Fact of the matter is, criminals don't, whether it's a child criminal or a regular criminal, they're going to do what they're going to do. And there is no way that you're going to mitigate access to firearms to someone who's determined to do something stupid. If you've ever checked out YouTube or Rumble, check out a guy named PSR, or that's the channel name. It's called Print, Shoot, Repeat. I mentioned him before. The gentleman prints 3D printed items, specifically firearms things. He has pulled a lot of his videos, but he was at one point showing off an HK MP5 or an MP5 that he had printed all the receiver and all the registerable parts. That should cause nightmares to the left. To people like me who are more ANCAP, I think this is amazing. And the reason why I think PSR is amazing is because the 2A is for everyone. My whole purpose of keeping New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union open is to inform users exactly what's going on in the 2A in New Mexico and nationally, because that's what I've noticed is always under assault. I'm a big 2A guy. I have been for most of my life, since I was about 4 or 5 years old when my dad introduced me to firearms. And it's disheartening to see what happens in a blue state or in the United States in general right now when it comes to the 2A. What really sparked New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union into existing was the shooting December 7th of 2017 in Aztec. This caused a call for action in the Roundhouse, and immediately the first thing they did, was, rather than fund and harden schools, was to call for gun confiscation and prohibition. Now, during that session, they got the red flag law passed, but they didn't get anything else passed. So they're slowly and surely trying to whittle our rights down in New Mexico, just like they are nationally. In this session, the governors made it a priority, just like they have on the national scale, leftists, that is. When I say they, the leftists, the politicians have called for. And it's disheartening to see that there are so many people we have elected to try to go after our rights, because that's their solution rather than finding real solutions. One of the coolest things I saw today, because it's been a hard day having to pay down that much stuff for taxes, I saw a tweet from David Hogg today, and he said, hey, wait, there's no way we're ever going to, I'm paraphrasing, by the way, we're never going to catch or confiscate all 400 million firearms in the United States. That's unrealistic. But hey, can we talk about the mental health situation, and maybe we can stop some of the suicide stuff? Now, I'm all for that. I think Iraq veteran 8888 was even all for that. However, I don't know that I can trust David Hogg, because he's one of those people that's always after anything to get in the limelight and anything with guns. He's one of the guys that was in Florida he was in the big shooting there. That happened after the one that happened in Aztec, which I was involved in. And when I say involved in, I had to deal with the blowback from that. I had to send out the messages that day. I had to make arrangements for how we were going to fix a lab that was shot up, where we were going to put that lab, how we communicated out to the world, and how we locked down that day. I did it. And I did it without question. I'd do it again. It's one of the highlights of my career is to say that I helped keep students safe as often as I could while I worked for them. I have some heartburn about public ed, and the more I see that's coming down from the session, I don't blame a lot of people for having the same heartburn. One thing I do want to bring up, I brought up Ryan Lane before. He's a very good gentleman that's from Aztec. I don't understand why he would introduce a bill, House Bill 306, a straw purchasing waste of time bill, in my opinion. What it is basically to stop prohibited people from getting firearms. That's already a law. That's already a federal law. Why are we wasting New Mexico tax dollars on something this stupid? If you're going to just put a multiplier on it, okay. So they're going to have a New Mexico state charge too. That doesn't really trump a federal charge, and I think that in this case, you'd want to use the federal charge to get a stiffer sentence if that's what you were trying to hold someone on. So I don't understand why we're wasting time there. But then again, I saw things for songs and cheeseburgers and other crap on that list. And that's one of the things I do in New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union, is I read the laws and legislation as they come down, just like New Mexico Shooting Sports Association, so you don't have to. If you tune in, I'll try to keep you abreast of these as we see things, or as I see things roll forward, and you need to take action sooner rather than later, or when you can chill a little bit. At the beginning of this session, you can see the bills they're going to introduce and what their priorities are. Right now is the mad dash for them to get all the other work they have to do, including these, passed. So this is where you're going to see movement rapidly and sneakily. This is where people will make backdoor deals to try to get a bill heard through committee and onto the floor just so that they can get something done, or say they got something done. In this session, they've got two, I believe. And the first one is House Bill 9. The other one, it looks like we may be back in New Mexico having to wait 14 days for a firearm. It did nothing in the past. It'll do nothing again. And then we'll be fighting this fight again, because that's how it always goes in New Mexico. House Bill 101 and Senate Bill 171, which are the assault weapons and magazine bans. House Bill 101 was tabled, outright tabled. And it looked like that was pretty much killing it. But with the governor's threat in New Mexico, that brings it back to the forefront, and expect someone to do some sort of shady deal to try to get it on the docket through committee to get it on a floor vote. It's very unpopular. They know it, and it would be very much a waste of time. Nationally, if you haven't heard what's going on nationally, you crawled into a hole a long time ago, and I don't blame you. On the political stage, there's the same stuff we always see with the idiots in charge that don't know what the hell they're doing. More money to the Ukraine, and Biden's call for an assault weapons ban. What does that mean? That means even though Republicans have the House, the Senate can still pass this bill and make some sort of noise. And there's enough people in the House that possibly could turncoat to make this pass. That's what always scares me on the national level, is because those guys will sell us all out if they can get more pork in a deal that benefits their constituents just a little bit more. It's not great for the American identity or the American way of doing business. It's not how our founding fathers ever thought it should happen. But with Biden's call to this, just like our governor's call, expect it to be on the docket for the House and the Senate. Also on the national stage, with the pistol brace ban, it looks like there's more and more people, or more court cases being filed with the Bruen decision. And what the Bruen decision basically says is that it brings up the common use, and it brings up a lot of Chevron deference. It gets really into the weeds. What it basically means is that It's a great lever for lawyers to pull and get our rights back. And there's a lot of winning in a lot of states right now where basically Clarence Thomas's decision and the Bruen decision has pushed a lot of judges to have to side with the 2A. And it's pissing off leftists everywhere. And I believe that the pistol brace ban is going to get summarily dealt with at a national level. Maybe, just maybe, it would be nice if they said, wait a minute, wait. This is a non sequitur anyway. First off, pistol action rifles, or rifle action pistols, that's what I've been calling them. They're not a big problem anyway. And the original intent of the National Firearms Act was to deal with pistols, like regular pistols, not these. It would be amazing if they found a way to get us past the short-barreled rifle, short-barreled shotgun BS, to where we have to mess with a tax stamp at all for a weapon that, in all intents and purposes, is actually less effective. And what I mean by that, for all you guys that are about to crucify me, is a 10.5-inch AR-15 does not have the ballistic potential of a 16 or a 20-inch. That's what I mean. They are not going to do the ballistic potential that a 20-inch AR-15 will do. They are still just as lethal, don't get me wrong. They are very handy, and there is a definite reason to own one. My problem is that I want us to get our rights back, and making it actual argument, because it's true, that they are less lethal than the 20-inch equivalent or the 16-inch equivalent. Maybe they'll back off of this. I don't think they will. There is no dealing with these guys. And truth be told, Freeman, don't ask permission. You do you. So, where does that leave us? Well, if you look at Washington and Oregon, those are the places you need to be very cognizant of right now because of what's being pushed there in Illinois. Illinois has a modern sporting weapons ban that's in there. There's a lot of pushback. The government doesn't want to comply with basic legal precedent now, saying they have to comply. California is in the same boat. It looks like their assault weapons ban will probably be struck down, and their magazine ban at the same time, by the Bruen decision. And how this is working out. Why is this happening? Basically, you cannot have a firearm without the accoutrement, the magazines, the ammunition, to use said firearm. So if you're banning a magazine, and the most common use magazine is the 30-round magazine, the standard capacity magazine that you buy with the weapon, or the 15-round magazine that's in a Glock 19 that you can't have in California, but that's the standard. It's now the Bruen decision and the other decisions that have passed down are basically making them reconsider those arguments and realize that they can't go after magazines or ammunition like they thought they could. So there's a glimmer of hope that we could get some of our rights back. Like, share, subscribe, be great.